Sir Arthur Petfield was my dad. He was a man of many talents and numerous personalities. But above all, he was a family man, not only to his immediate family, but to the business of Queensland Can and the staff, which he referred to as his other family. I think he'd want to be remembered as somebody that made a contribution, not only to business, but to the community. And I am so proud to be his son.
Well, to me, Sir Arthur Petfield was an awe-inspiring figure. I'm currently a research fellow, and this project came out of an earlier life when I worked for Queensland Can United Packages from approximately 1966 until 1990. And I've always believed that there was a story to be told about the company and about Sir Arthur, who built that company up. Queensland Can started in 1921, manufacturing cans. Sir Arthur started in 1929 at the age 17. Very young, fresh, straight out of school. He started as a junior office boy and worked his way up quite rapidly. Became accountant and then company secretary. And in 1948, the manager of the company then, Charles Topham, died, and Sir Arthur stepped into his shoes and became the general manager.
But I'm very proud of the fact that he started as an office boy when he left school, basically to support the family because it was recession, and his father was a builder, and but nothing was happening. And he had 3 younger brothers, and he went from office boy to general manager in 10 years.
He was a legendary figure, almost godlike to the in the company.
There was an article written after Dad's passing in the company magazine, and a lot of what was said in that small article sums the man up very, very well. And I'll quote this here, that it was his rapport with people, ordinary people, that made Arthur Petfield the man he was. And one suspects it was a quality which, above even his financial or administrative judgment, engendered the support and loyalty enabling a small business Brisbane can shop to grow into one of the nation's largest packaging companies. I think he was successful for a long time because he didn't sit in his office. I remember my father leaving home in the mornings, and he would visit each factory in Brisbane before he went into his office, and he'd walk through quite often, would walk through the plant and talk to the machine operators, that sort of thing. He was very much hands-on with the factory and with the people. He created what became the 25-year club because people just started work at Queensland Can and they continued on until retirement.
He was incredibly loyal to his employees and people everyone he dealt with. That's part of the high integrity, I think, of the man. There's some examples in my research I've come across I think says so much about the man. Here is Sir Arthur's whole career told in cards with the highlights for each year picked out and made into a cartoon. The cards were made in the art department each year at Christmas time, which was then taken up to Sir Arthur to present it to him, his card, each year. I think they are a unique record of the man and his achievements. The first one, this is when Sir Arthur Petfield then becomes general manager of the company. 1961, Daddy Longlegs. And that was a little tag that the artists carried through for the rest of his life. I love this card because this was the year that Queensland Can merged with paperboard industries in Victoria, the A&G Anson Company, and this image shows Sir Arthur astride the nation for the first time when Queensland Can then has a national coverage. From there, he moved on and grew the company, expanded it enormously with mergers, cooperative relationships with other companies, expanding the products that they produced. So it gave Queensland Can an immediate and enormous reach right across the nation. Queensland at that time, basically a rural economy, rural industries and primary industries were the base of Queensland's wealth and well-being, and packaging is absolutely critical to the primary industries and to rural industries, if you think about it, transport and packaging. So it was a lovely niche in which to grow a company and an organisation. In 1968, there was a change of name from just Can Company to United Packages to represent our broader manufacturing base. Great expansion of business, the new avenues of production and sales right across Australia. It was just an enormous, giant step forward for Queensland Can. There's a story of growth just reading the headlines. This is a very significant year. It's the year Sir Arthur becomes chairman of the company. Inside, we have Arthur Petfield sitting at the round table with his knights, the board members. It's almost ironic because in 1968, when he is knighted, Sir Arthur and his men of the round table once again
he was very chuffed with his knighthood, but it didn't change the man. Certainly didn't change him as a father or a mate, a friend. And he was entitled to have his own crest, family crest. Something represents packaging and something else represents charities and something else represents service to the community and what have you. But as far as I'm concerned, the highlight was the animal on top of the crest, which was my dog. My dog, Patch. The family motto at the bottom of the crest is faithfully serve. He believed he faithfully served the family, his staff and the community, and that really sums him up. He was a man that of lots of different talents, and he was a very generous man.
And I think it's really significant that knighthood links those two qualities together: service to industry and to the community. In so many ways, he served the industry as a business leader across Queensland, as chairman on boards of many of those organisations, Australian Institute, Chamber of Manufacturers, Queensland Advisory Councils, tribunals, a wide range of service and community groups. One of his most significant contributions was to the Queensland Cerebral Palsy League. There was Cancer Council, the Safety Council, welfare groups, Children's Hospital Foundation, as well as smaller social and civic groups. OTC oversees Telecommunications Commission, a really vital organisation for Queensland because it oversaw communications into and out of Australia over its lifetime. And its lifetime was extended largely because of Sir Arthur. He fought to keep the OTC as an independent body. He was still chairman and fighting for the OTC when he died in '74. The OTC was responsible for tracking stations and earth stations around Australia. Do you remember the moon landing? Yeah, I'm sure people do. So that was one of really significant events of the OTC because of their involvement with the NASA and the moon landing, but also serving other telecommunications functions as well, those are stations. So seeing the expansion of the OTC, the growth of OTC and overseeing all that came under Sir Arthur's chairmanship. An incredible leadership across so many areas. Yeah. And he was passionate about the OTC. This was one of his key organisations that he was involved in.
One of his sayings was, if you want a job done, you give it to a busy man. So he ended up doing lots of little jobs. His dad with Sir Colin Hanna, the Governor of Queensland at the time. I think he was highly respected. An indication of that probably you could take from the attendance at his funeral. It was packed, absolutely packed. And the number of cards and flowers and that sort of thing was just incredible. And I think that's probably an indication of how people thought of him.
May I extend our sincere sympathy to you and your family in your sad bereavement. Clem Jones.
A lot of the things that I didn't know until after he'd passed. His generosity with various people, because they wrote little notes. Your dad did this, no one else knew, but he did this, and thank you very much, and what have you.
Wherever he goes and whatever he does, Queensland's there. The very fact that he kept this company, Queensland Can United Packages, as a Queensland company throughout its lifetime, even documented in the headlines, a company that didn't go south. So many companies, if they're successful, Queensland companies either merge or get taken over by southern companies. Queensland Can reversed that trend, but always maintained this as a Queensland company.
If I had asked him what the highlights of his life were, he'd probably say, oh, when you were born, son. No, I think he was proud of his family. He was. He was proud of what he'd achieved. This was the article that appeared in the United Packages magazine shortly after my father passed away. The headline, "Boss with a Heart of Gold," sums it up very well. He wanted to help people. One of the things that he instilled on me as a son, he said, son, whatever you do in life, whatever success you have, you must give something back in return for the good fortune that you hopefully you will have. And I believed in that, and I've tried to instill that into my children, that we're here on this planet to make a contribution. It's not only your job, your work, your family, and that's why Dad was so involved with charities, numerous charities. And a lot of it was driven by the fact that he was a proud Queenslander.